help us share more kindness. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. It was a cold, rainy afternoon in the small town of Willow Creek when it all began. An old woman named Grace Thompson was locking up her tiny diner for the day, wiping the steam from her glasses as the rain poured outside. She was tired, her bones aching from a long shift, but her heart was as kind as ever. That's when she noticed him. A small boy, no more than 8 or 9 years old, stood by the window, soaked to the bone. His shirt clung to his fragile body, his eyes filled with hunger, fear, and something deeper, shame. Grace didn't ask questions. She unlocked the door again. "Hey there, sweetheart," she said softly. "Come in before you catch your death." He hesitated, then shuffled in slowly, dripping onto the floor. His lips trembled, and he wouldn't meet her eyes. "Are you hungry?" she asked. He nodded silently. Grace didn't press him for details. Where his parents were, why he was out in the storm, or why he looked like he hadn't eaten in days. She just turned on the stove again, pulled out some leftover stew, and toasted 2 slices of bread. As she placed the hot bowl in front of him, his small hands shook with disbelief. "Eat," she said kindly. "You're safe here." He devoured the food like he hadn't eaten in a week. Tears silently streamed down his cheeks. Grace sat across from him, watching him with motherly warmth. She offered no judgment, no pity, only presence. When he finished, he whispered, "Thank you," in a voice so soft she barely heard it. "Anytime," she replied. Before she could ask his name, he slipped out the door and disappeared into the rain. And just like that, he was gone. Grace never saw him again. 40 years later. Grace was now 79 years old. The diner was long gone, closed when she retired a decade ago. She lived alone in a modest house, her husband having passed away 5 years earlier. Life was simple, quiet, and sometimes, painfully lonely. Her eyesight was fading, and her body had grown fragile. Bills had piled up. Her pension barely covered her needs, and the medical expenses kept growing. Still, she kept her spirit high, knitting scarves for the church, smiling at her neighbors, and never once complaining. Then one morning, she received a letter. Not a bill. Not a flyer. Just a simple, elegant envelope with her name in gold ink. She opened it with shaky hands. Inside was a card. "To the woman who gave me my first meal. When the world had forgotten me. You gave me life. Now let me return the favor." It was signed. Adam Rivers. A name she didn't recognize, until something deep in her memory stirred. Could it be? Then came a knock at the door. Outside stood a man in a dark suit, smiling warmly. Behind him, a black car. "Miss Thompson," he said, "Mr. Rivers has asked me to escort you to your new home." "My new home?" she stammered. He handed her another envelope. Inside were the deed papers to a luxurious countryside mansion. Acres of land. Paid in full. In her name. She was stunned. "This has to be a mistake." "No mistake, ma'am. He says you saved his life when no one else did. He wants you to live the rest of your life the way you deserve." Still trembling, she stepped outside, eyes wide with disbelief. Meanwhile, in New York City. Adam Rivers, now a billionaire tech CEO, known for his philanthropy and humble beginnings, was being interviewed on national TV. When asked about his biggest inspiration, he didn't mention college, business, or success. He said, "When I was 8, I was homeless, hungry, and abandoned. I was about to give up. But one woman, one stranger, gave me a warm meal, a smile, and hope. That one act of kindness saved me." He paused. "She never asked who I was. She just gave. That's the moment I realized, compassion changes everything. I owe my life to her. Back in Willow Creek, Grace was moved into her new home, fitted with caretakers, gardens, a library, and a kitchen just like her old diner, rebuilt to remind her of the place where the story began. Adam visited her the following weekend. Now a tall, confident man in his 40s, he embraced her with tears in his eyes. "You probably don't remember me," he said softly. She looked at him, studied his eyes, and then she did. "The boy in the rain," she whispered. He nodded, smiling through the tears. "You gave me a meal, and you gave me purpose." "I only gave you food, child," she replied, voice cracking. "No," he said. "You gave me hope when I had none. You changed everything." The final message. This wasn't just about a boy and a meal. It was about the ripple effect of a single act of kindness. Grace never knew what her small gesture meant that day. She didn't expect anything in return. But her compassion planted a seed that grew into a mighty tree. One that would shelter others for decades to come. One meal changed one life. And that life changed the world. Kindness doesn't need a stage. It only needs a heart. So the next time you see someone in need, remember Grace. Remember Adam. You never know who you're feeding. It might just be the next person to change the world. One like, one subscribe, that's all it takes to support our journey.